Today we're going to do a deep dive into the Roth IRA. How much should you contribute to your Roth IRA each year? Well, that's a great question. It's a question that comes up quite often, so we're going to talk about the ins and the outs as far as the Roth IRA and some things you probably didn't know. There's some backdoor conversions, there's some things that can be done. But before we get too far along, make sure that you click that subscribe button and you subscribe to the Cashflow Academy. You're going to want to watch videos when Noah and Andy and these guys produce them because they produce incredible content absolutely free. So today we want to talk about the Roth IRA. And in order to do so, let's make sure that you understand what this product is. So the Roth IRA is different than the traditional IRA. So when we think about the Roth, this Roth is after-tax dollars, typically, that you're contributing to this. So you are taxed on the money already, and then you contribute to your Roth IRA, right? After taxed dollars. The reason that's beneficial is because you're no longer taxed after that fact. All that the account grows over time, you get to pull that money out tax-free, and that's a huge advantage to you. Whereas the traditional IRA, you would contribute to a traditional IRA pre-tax. So you avoid the taxation up front, but the problem is that as the account grows and grows and grows over time, you then have to pay taxes on all of that money. And it should be over time to the tune of millions of dollars for people if they compound over an extended period of time. So we're talking about big dollar amounts here, and to be taxed, to already pay your tax up front versus on the back end is huge. Here's why. Let's go to a compounding interest calculator. Now here's really why that's so beneficial. This is huge. Let's say that over time, well, first of all, let's talk about contribution limits. So how much should you invest in your Roth IRA each and every year? For somebody under the age of 50, there is currently a $7,000 limit. That's how much you can contribute per year. If you are age 50 or older, you can contribute the same $7,000, but there's an additional $1,000 catch-up contribution. So really, it's $8,000. Somebody that's under 50, it's $7,000. Somebody that's over 50, it's $8,000. Now, there are contribution limits based on your adjusted gross income. So if you make too much money, you actually can't contribute to a Roth IRA. You know, if you're making $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 per year, then you may be too far, your income is too high and they won't let you do that. In which case, you could do a backdoor conversion to this. How does that done? Well, there are not income limitations for funding a traditional IRA. The problem, as we talked about, is the fact that you're going to have to pay taxes on all that it compounds. So you want to get that moved over. Well, you can contribute to your traditional IRA, and then you can convert that traditional IRA into a Roth IRA. Now, there might be taxes, things that you have to pay, but they now allow you to convert from a traditional to a Roth IRA. That wasn't always available, but it's a new thing. Well, when I say new, it's within the last few years that's become available to investors. So if you have income limitations, and I've run into that myself, there are some backdoor ways. So you can do a little bit more research on that as needed. But here's why this is so powerful. If you're contributing $7,000 per year, well, over 30 years, that's a lot of contributions. Let's just say you average $7,000 across 30 years, that's $210,000 in contributions that you've made, right? So let's plug that into the compounding interest calculator. And let's say, well, our initial investment was $7,000, but then we were contributing basically, let's see what that would be. What's 7,000 divided by 12? How much are we contributing monthly? We're putting an additional $583 in per month to keep contributing 7,000. We're doing that for 30 years, and our estimated return, stock market average about 10%, let's say, and we calculate, okay? It becomes $1.2 million. Oh, fantastic. Now, what did I say before? Our contributions were $210,000. Your account is now worth what? $1,272,946. You are going to pay taxes on all of this money minus your contribution. So basically, a little over $1 million you're going to have to pay taxes on. Now, someone might say, well, but by that point, I'm going to be older and I'm going to be in a lower tax bracket and so forth. That's true, but to start pulling money out of your IRA and have to pay taxes on that, if it were traditional. Now, remember, only if it's traditional do we have to pay those taxes. That would stink, right? So I'd rather pay the tax up front, let all this money compound, and here's the beauty of the Roth IRA. If this is in a Roth IRA instead of the traditional, and this is why I'm going to put the star next to it, all $1.2 million, you paid your taxes before you contributed the $7,000, right? You paid tax on that $7,000. That was your earned income. So you made money at your job, you paid your taxes, and then you had $7,000 left over that you contributed. So it was already taxed up front. Everything that it grows and compounds, though, comes out tax-free. So literally $1.272 million, you're pulling all of that out, and you do not have a tax bill. You do not have penalties if you're pulling this out after you turn 59 and a half. Why did they choose 59 and a half years old? I don't know, but these are retirement accounts. If you pull money out before that, you could be penalized, but this is a beautiful thing. So the Roth IRA, we get to bring out that 1.2 million. We can pull that money out over time, all of it if we wanted, but we can take it out tax-free, and that is huge. The traditional IRA would have compounded the same, but now we're paying tax on that. And even if you're a low tax bracket, I mean, let's imagine for a second that you're a tax bracket that is, I don't know, 15%. Well, 1,272,946 times 15%, that's 190,000 that you're going to owe in taxes at a low. So notice, not only did you contribute $210,000 to your traditional IRA, but now I got to pay another $190,000 in taxes. And that's at a low tax bracket, right? So if I'm paying $190,000 in taxes and I had to contribute 210, I'm up to $400,000 in money going out. So I'd much prefer the Roth IRA. Just allow that money to compound and grow without those tax bills. So I hope you learned some new things about the Roth IRA. Now check out this next video to learn even more about some of these concepts. You're going to love it.